Hi, welcome to today's Piece of Peace. Again, I can't thank God enough that I get to be back. It's so nice to, as I go through my devotional time, it's a different story when I'm just listening to God, and then how do I portray what He's teaching me to you, and it really is a good challenge for me. Instead of just sort of honing in and keeping it to myself, I love that He's asking me to put it out there. Well, not always. Like sometimes when I have stuff that He's pruning in me, it's rather humbling to express that to you. Today I started off again just in worship. I ended up in my kitchen this morning because the sun was brightest, and I was very grateful to be right in the sun there, and did the song Gyra from Maverick City Music for him this morning, and then another piece that he wrote with me, just an instrumental piece, just giving that back to him in glory this morning. And that worship piece just kind of settles my heart, brings me into His presence, helps me think about Him and not my circumstances. The thoughts of the day just sort of settles me, so that before I start to journal or get into His Word, I'm just in His presence. And I love that so much. I encourage you all to do that. Writing thoughts of gratitude. Thank you for the warm sun through the window, the song Gyra. To worship you today. The extended conversation with my friend Cindy yesterday. That was just a blessing. I found this incredible doctor online that gives a lot of help with a plethora of things. And he has hundreds of YouTube videos on how to have these guided steps to health. And I was thanking God for him, thanking God for the reactions of the people that I had disappointed and their gracious reactions to me, and for the ministry that I'm heading into. And one of the sweet servants of God, who I feel like has a kindred spirit to me, I got to have a beautiful conversation with her yesterday, and I'm just enjoying her. I can't wait to meet her. I've only been speaking to her by phone, and I'm looking very forward to having time with her. Thanking God. Thanking Him for this day. Asking Him a few questions just to confirm what He's calling me to direct me clearly. And that's beautiful. And He answered me right away. Yes, Janelle, it is right for you to intercede. And I just went, oh, good. So I got an answer and could return a call, and that was great. Just sitting in His presence, just resting in His presence, feeling the sunshine come through the window. A tiny little bird ended up, a chickadee right outside the window, and I just love when He lets me see His creation and have the time, the stillness to enjoy it, because He wants us to enjoy what He's put before us. He did it for our enjoyment. If that isn't amazing, that isn't amazingly enough, that He's thinking of what brings us joy, and He creates it, and He allows it to pass by us, because His presence is whispering over our journey that day, and He's drawing our attention back to Him all throughout those things. Look for the desert flowers. If you're in a dry and weary land, look for the desert flowers. They're unique, they're hardy, they're beautiful, and they're just so rare, and they're amazing. And when I think about our days, we can fly through them with our agendas, and we can go to bed feeling empty or anxious or tired or without direction, or we can stay in His presence and we can experience His peace throughout the day, seeing the blessings He's sending us that He wants to bring joy to us through. And in His joy, it is our strength. And then we find hope, and we trust, and we move in such a different perspective. That brought me into our scripture reading today. We're going to be in Deuteronomy 32, verses 1 through 4. It's called Perfect Justice. And the author of this is Win Collier, writes in Our Daily Bread. You can download that app onto your smartphones, or you can order these booklets online. They can come right to your house. The scripture that they stand out, or that they put forth, is Deuteronomy 32:4. All God's ways are just. And Collier writes, in 1983, 3 teens were arrested for the murder of a 14-year-old. According to news reports, the younger teen was shot because of his athletic jacket. Sentenced to life in prison, the 3 spent 36 years behind bars before evidence surfaced that revealed their innocence. Another man had committed the crime. Before the judge released them as free men, he issued an apology. I don't know how that makes you feel. I feel like that's super unjust. Seriously, 36 years imprisoned as a teenager for something you didn't do. Honestly, how would you not be bitter? How could you ever come out with hope and joy? Spending your entire adult life in prison for something you didn't do. I find it very difficult when I'm judged by humans on a very small level of them not understanding me and having a perspective of me that isn't real. I find that difficult. I can't imagine being sentenced to 36 years for something I didn't do, and how unjust that is. How unjust. Before the judge released them as free men, he issued an apology. Would that suffice it for you? That felt very small to me. But Collier goes on. No matter how hard we try, no matter how much good is done by our officials, human justice is often flawed. We never have all the information. Sometimes dishonest people manipulate the facts. And here's a couple things that stood out to me. Sometimes we're just wrong. Our perspectives are wrong. And often evils may take years to be righted. If they ever are in our lifetime. And often evils take years to be righted if they ever are in our lifetime. Thankfully, unlike fickle humans, God wields perfect justice, not injustice. Thankfully, unlike fickle humans, God yields perfect justice. His works are perfect, says Moses, and all his ways are just. God sees things as they truly are, and in time after we've done our worst, God will bring about final, ultimate justice. Though uncertain of the timing, we have confidence because we serve a faithful God who does no wrong, who is upright, and just is he. We may be dogged by uncertainty regarding what's right or wrong. And here's another thing that stood out. We may fear that the injustices done to us or to those we love will never be made right. I've felt that for a friend who had something very unjust happen to their child. And the anger and the hurt and the betrayal and through my own circumstances, an unjust judgment on me, and then a repercussion of just a ton of pain, and sent our whole family in a whirlwind for a decade. We may fear that the injustices done to us or those we love will never be made right. But we can trust the God of justice to one day, either in this life or the next, enact justice for us. I had a very good mentor. And when there was unjust things happening to me and my family, my mentor said, Janelle, you are not the judge. So don't react out of your emotion and let God be the judge. And that was what David did. He had every right in our humanness to have taken out Saul while he was in that cave. But he refrained because God was the judge, and this was God's anointed king, and David felt like it was God's job to take him out, not David. He didn't take it upon himself. So how do we live like that in an unjust world? Waiting on the Lord, trusting in him because he is right. Collier's charge was this: where have you seen justice abused and misrepresented? And where does your heart cry out for God to bring justice? Collier's prayer was this: God, I see injustice all around me, even in these days, for sure in these days. In the news, in my relationships, on social media. Thank you for the hope I can have in you and your way, in your just ways. Resting in the King, focusing on him, letting him be the judge. 36 years in prison. That's going to take a lot of hanging on to God for forgiveness in that. So today, that brought me to Jesus Calling. Sarah Young's book, you can download that online, or you can order that online, I mean. And she writes from the perspective of God speaking to us, and this is what she says today. Welcome challenging times as opportunities to trust me. You have me beside you and my spirit within you. So no set of circumstances is too much for you to handle. When the path before you is dotted with difficulties, beware of measuring your strength against those challenges. That calculation is certain to riddle you with anxiety. Without me, you wouldn't make it past the first hurdle. It actually made me laugh out loud because he's right. The way to walk through demanding days is to grip my hand tightly and stay in close communication with me. Let your thoughts and spoken words, here we go. This is what I've been saying for a long time. Let your thoughts and spoken words be richly flavored with trust and thankfulness. Regardless of the day's problems, I can keep you in perfect peace as you stay close to me. And that's today's Piece of Peace. God bless you.